All right, we are live. Tim, good to see you and good to have just seen you in person.
Absolutely. It seems all of about a few hours ago, actually, David, because I had a bit of a flight delay coming home, but it gave me some time to go through everything that was Enterprise Connect. And my word, what a whirlwind, what a
But
storm of information. And yeah, just it's just brilliant. I love the excitement. I get all tied up in all of all of the meetings and sort of drink the Kool-Aid and have a great time there. So it really sort of gives me a lot of energy through to get me through the rest of the year, I think.
well, I'm glad you're home safe because you did have quite an adventure. You just basically landed. I mean, you
Yeah,
haven't slept yet.
it's probably about 4 hours ago. I have drunk coffee though and had chocolate, so that's sort of the sugar and the caffeine will get me through. So that's fine.
All right, that'll give you a little bit of energy. And for our viewers, thanks for being here, whether you're watching live on the replay. And the event literally just ended, so we haven't had time to compile. Or well, you had a little time because you were stuck, but we haven't had the time we normally have to prepare for this. This is just kind of our off the cuff thoughts. And if anyone is watching live, please jump in the chat because we want to know what you think. If you want us to talk about your company, it's an easy way to do it. One quick thought before we start. I've noticed in my time in this industry, it's really obvious at events like this, um, we've made a lot of progress with diversity in our industry. And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Our industry is better because of it. Um, our press and analyst group is wonderfully diverse, and I everyone knows I love our little group. It's one of my favorite parts of going to these events, and the vendors not just at the keynotes and stuff, but at the C level. And not just the woman CMO. We were starting to break the CMO wall. So all that is really great. The one place I'm not seeing it, and this isn't our fault, is literally every other industry. It's the end users. The end users, it's getting better and it'll continue to get better, but I'm still seeing a lack of diversity. I guess it's you know, how do you say to little girls in third grade, hey, you want to be the AVIT person? How do you say that to a little boy in third grade actually? Um, but we need to get but we're aware of it and talking about it is the first step. So, but anyway, just wanted to start with that. But let's start with got our magic whiteboard. The keynotes. Um, which one do you want to
Yeah.
start with?
Well, let's start from the top. Should we talk about Microsoft?
Sure.
Um, yeah. So for me, it was very interesting. I always like hearing about the opening line or the first thing that they talk about, and I also like delving into the stuff that they don't talk about. So they didn't talk about Microsoft Places, which was meant to GA last year, but I have no doubt we'll hear something imminently. Um, so that has been kept quiet. I was surprised there wasn't any announcements there. So that's what they didn't talk about. What they did lead with, though, which really surprised me, because I think if I was going to Enterprise Connect for the first time, I'll be a bit worried hearing Microsoft talking about five nines uptime for Teams Phone. And that wasn't
Mm.
the only keynote where reliability started rearing its ugly head again, because most people assume everything should be five nines available. But if you have to reinforce it on a keynote, I think I would feel a little bit sort of concerned if that was my opening gambit. So yeah, Microsoft led five nines availability in Teams Phone. Um, I was surprised that AI and Copilot was a lot further down the list, the pecking order in terms of what people wanted to present. So Microsoft spoke about in-room speaker recognition. Excuse me. They also talk about voice isolation in minutes in meetings.
The
And
demo
what this
was good
allows you
with
to,
Ilya.
yeah, he was out on the trade floor, wasn't he, David?
Yeah.
And as you can imagine, really, really noisy. And we had some dogs there, as I know we'll cover off at some point in time, barking away. I mean, the furore and the hubbub on the trade floor is it's loud. You can't really hear yourself speak. So that was quite an incredible demo where, after a little bit of an enrollment process that takes about a minute, it isolates your own voice and drowns out the background. So not only have you got voice isolation as well as background noise reduction. I mean, it really helps for a great meeting experience in those noisy environments. Just a couple of thoughts there, David. One, we've gone through all this certification for Teams devices. Does this mean you can use anybody's earbuds now and it's all going to sound great? And then secondly, for me, and I didn't get an answer to this, is where is that voice print information stored? Is it stored a one-off? Is it where is it stored? Because I think there might be some EU regulations that might
Oh.
that might rear their ugly head. No one could answer that question. I'd be very interested in that one. So that was me sort of trying to get a little bit more under the hood with that sort of information. What else was there? Oh, ultrasound proximity join. So that's quite a good one. So it uses ultrasound as well as Bluetooth. So if you're near a meeting room and you want that easy join experience, something that Cisco has had for quite some time now. In fact, many years.
It feels like the kind of thing that I just like because it's cool and nerdy, but no, it's really valuable. It really helps people feel more comfortable getting into their meetings.
It does.
But it is so cool and nerdy. It really is.
It is, and it's very much needed. When you're going down a busy floor in an office and you need to have that easy join experience, you need something that helps you, hone in on that meeting room that you want to sort of take the assets from or to utilize. So that's a really good and quick way of and an easy way to sort of establish that link between your device and your meeting room assets. Intelligent recap for PSTN calls, so as well as meetings,
Yes.
and pretty much everyone is doing the same sort of features, aren't they, David? It seems
AI
very
in
much.
phones was a bit of a theme here. I was not expecting, and I am not a phones. I'm one of those. Some things I'm wrong about, and one of the things I'm wrong about is I'm like, why do we still have phones? Yes, there's reasons that I know I'm wrong, but y'all made me excited about phones for a few minutes there. It wasn't just Microsoft, but AI and phones. Yes. AI that's not just hype and cool and different. This is going to be useful from day one.
I think so. And then for me, and these are just top of mind things, as you say, and if we can remember it, it probably hit a home run in terms of the keynote. The other one was a new Q's app. Now, Q's app is, I think it's Microsoft's early move into the contact center in a big way. So this is going way beyond voice-enabled channels in Teams. This is really sort of real-time and historic and omni-channel sort of contact center capabilities. But Microsoft don't want to call it a contact center. They want to say it's a Q's app. And
yeah, when that came up, I was looking around for you or one of my other friends to say, hold on a second, it isn't, I thought they don't, but am I looking at what I think I'm looking at? Because that looks like a baby version, a newbie version of you have a contact center.
Yeah, well, I think they've got to be very careful because obviously they've got contact center partners, but you can imagine where this will go. And I believe it's going to be, the pricing will be rolled into the Teams premium license. So if you've got a help desk, not a contact center, that will be included in the Teams premium, adding more value to the Teams premium license. So I think we're going to see a lot more of that taking place. But I think this is going to be Microsoft's multicast. So multicast, talk to you a little bit about that. So we coined a term Omdia multicast a little while ago, where we sort of spoke about the coming together of UC and contact center, or UC and CC, or employee experience as well as customer experience. The whole of Enterprise Connect was all about these two unique places coming together and the integration of the front office and the back office. So that was a common theme, but this really signified to me that Microsoft are very serious about having a single platform for the integration of UCaaS and CCaaS.
Yeah, I never thought I'd be covering contact center, but all the companies that do UC that I cover do contact center now. So now we're covering contact center, and it makes perfect sense. It is the same thing. It's data through the network. It's voice, video, data through the network, getting it to the right place at the right time, some of it live, some of it recorded, and storing it, and it's all the same stuff. So of course it makes sense. But when it first hit me, a few years ago, it was a little weird.
Yeah, and the thing, looking at the AI theme as well, I know that Microsoft charge additional premiums for you to have Copilot for meeting summaries and things like that, stuff that people make available at no extra charge. I think when we start looking at AI, we're going to see those sort of table stakes for the employee experience. No extra charge from some, Microsoft charging for it, some vendors charging for the contact center, calling summaries and all of the stuff that's there. It's going to be the coming together of everything. It's, you know, oil and water, and shake as hard as you can, because it's going to be very difficult to distinguish one solution from another. Who do I pay for? What licenses do I need? So I think it's going to get increasingly confusing, but we'll reach a plateau where people understand, right, okay, I get this with this solution. It's still
not
early
right
days.
now, though.
AI is still in its infancy. And I think, you know, one thing that came to mind was people saying, how many people actually go back and read a transcript to make sure that David said what he said and Tim said what he said. If you've got 5 people in a meeting, do all 5 of them go back into a meeting summary and start editing notes if they can remember to do so? Maybe not. But I think that agents, when they have a call summary with clients, as part of their training and as part of their DNA, they go back in and they make sure that the call accurately says what's said. So, you know, we're still in the early days. Everyone's trying to figure it out. Everyone's got a co-pilot. Everything's AI. I don't think, how far did we get into a keynote without anyone mentioning AI?
Probably 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Kevin Keeler, who comes up on this rotation behind us, his presentation, it was about Copilot in particular, but you really can apply it to all of AI. And he's talking about the canyon of confusion. And it sounds a lot like what we're talking about right now. There's a lot of confusion with pricing and what we use. And I mean, the fact that if there's like 30 different Copilots. You know, there's Copilot for Office, and Copilot this, and Copilot that, and Copilot with this license and that license. But it's not just the confusion of which one do I use for what and how do I pay for it. The more important confusion is, what is the hype and where am I getting the value? And one thing I've been seeing a lot from Microsoft lately, which is smart of them, is they're trying to show the value. And not just at this event, but at other events, they're not just saying, hey, here's a cool demo where the AI gets rid of the sound, and here's a cool demo where it prompts you to make your email nicer. They're saying, our users have reported 78% of them are using it to reduce their time. You know, 62% of them are using the meeting summaries for this, and they're showing stats saying, trying to address Kevin's canyon of confusion, saying, yes, it's real. People are seeing the value. It's worth paying the $30 a month for. I'm not saying that's right, but I'm saying that's what they're leading with, and that's the story they need to tell.
Yeah, we had our Omdia Summit on the Monday because it's our event. It's Informa's event, Enterprise Connect, and we're the sort of analyst wing with inside Informa. Brent also shared the stage with Kevin. We spoke about AI at our Omdia Summit. We're all saying, you know, show us the use cases, show us the value, and it's very difficult. There were a few keynotes, Zoom in particular, as we start going through these. Zoom sort of did give a really good day in the life of an employee. So there are people out there that are trying to tell the story, but just by saying it costs this much and people are saying they save 15 hours a month, I'm not sure. You know, you really need to take people on a journey, see how to use it properly. Prompts all over the place. You know, it's really early adoption stage at the moment. I wouldn't be spending any money on it at the moment. I'd be interested in trialing it or getting it at no extra charge within my suite. But at this particular moment, my own personal opinion is I'm not sure that I would get any value from it in my particular role at the moment.
Wow. Well, if everyone feels the way you do, and they wouldn't mind having it free in their suite, but they're not going to pay extra for it, and there's one vendor that has it free in their suite, and there's another vendor that's charging extra for it, I guess the viewers can figure out the rest for themselves.
Maybe. We'll see. I mean, the market will decide, of course, which is ultimately, that's going to make or break vendors. The other one that I was really interested in as well was Cisco. Now, Cisco...
Should we move on from Microsoft to Cisco?
Yeah, I was going to go from Microsoft to Cisco because, Cisco's opening gambit was really talking about the Office as a magnet. One could argue it's in their interest because they sell a lot of devices. So, of course, they want people back into the office because
they have a new phone.
Dependent on hardware. They do, the 9800 series.
I don't like phones, but it's cool. It's a good phone.
Well, what's cool about it, I think, is do you remember? You're gonna have to really go way back. But sort of 10, 15 years ago, when we had those little red lights on phones to tell you that you got a message waiting indication with voicemail. So now, instead of having that, you have a red or green desk reservation light on a phone. So when you're going down your office space with hot desks, you can see which desks are available and which aren't, and use Cisco's desk reservation system to reserve that desk, which I thought was really, really good. And if you've got a QR code, it's easy to log in rather than doing, I think it's on the 7940s and 60s, you have to keep pressing the button and typing in your name and password in a very difficult way to log in. This is much easier. So they've thought about that really carefully, and they were talking about building a sense of community, collaborating and creating this working environment with the office as a magnet. So yeah, two new devices, the 9800, which has the desk reservation system. It's got AI powered audio. You can view meeting schedules in there. There was a new Board Pro G2, a new
WebEx board,
big video, WebEx board, which was really good. Some new AI assistant features, different speaker and group layouts in meetings, close-up views with AI visual zoom, which was really good. So you don't need PTZ. It uses digital zooming for an AI control to make those close-up views really good in a meeting.
But what else? We don't like the old this view. This isn't good enough anymore these days.
It never is it? And there were a number of keynotes and a lot of devices out on the floor that show you how to get the best out of your office real estate and the way in which you present video.
One thing I really want to give Cisco credit for, and it is something we've seen before, but it's so good that it's worth giving them another pat on the back for. We all love the AI. We all think that a lot of it is real and not hype, meeting summaries in particular, that kind of stuff. And the most powerful example, and again, I was like, what do I care about CX? The CX, the customer service AI, unbelievable. It really is revolutionary, game-changing, mind-blowing stuff from all of them. They're all good. But Cisco's demos of that are particularly good. Even among the rest, which are stellar, they're particularly good. They have some features that just blow my mind. And a lot of it is their attention to the agent. Agents are people too. It's not just focused on, oh, the customer's not happy. We see the customer has a frowny face. Let's give them free stuff. It's the agent's freaking out. Let's show them pictures of puppies so they calm down for a minute. And that's just one example, but there's a lot of, seemed to me, maybe they got me fooled, seemed to me that Cisco has a lot of unique, really special magic stuff in their AI for CX, and they deserve me saying what I just said.
There's a lot going on in the CX world. So I think with Cisco, with their contact center offerings, they're talking about their WFO, their workforce optimization capabilities and quality management, which is driven by AI. So previously, and I used to work decades ago in an organization that used to sell little recorders for recording agent calls, and a supervisor had to go in and score them. So it's very subjective. You had to say, oh yeah, David answered that call with empathy. That was really good. And Tim, he was really stern. He was some snarly Brit that sort of handled that call badly. So he's going to get a 1 and David got a 10. Now you can remove that subjectivity out of it, and you can have AI do that scoring for you. So there was Cisco and a number of others that would sort of use AI to score more objectively, looking at long periods of silence where it might have felt a bit awkward between the agent and the customer. Maybe I'm really rude and I start over talking a customer, which is frowned upon. And you can see that, there's all this AI stuff that is going to make life so much easier in the contact center. And of course, if you're saving money or time, that's quantifiable, which is really hard dollar ROI savings there. So less so on the employee experience side, but definitely on the CX side.
Yeah, and if you're looking for examples of AI that's real and happening now and not hype and going to make a difference, it's happening on the CX side.
Yeah. Where should we go to now?
Anything else after we've done Microsoft and Cisco? Zoom?
Zoom, of course. Should we go on to Zoom?
Sure.
So yeah, what I liked about Zoom in particular. There we go. What I like about Zoom in particular, there was a lot of things I like about all vendors. Zoom in particular was the way in which they spoke about AI assistance solving problems and addressing some of those common common challenges. And their keynote was framed by exploring the issues that we all face. So they sort of then spoke about flexible working styles. The way in which Zoom framed their keynote was really good because they spoke about addressing business problems with technology, which is refreshing because that's what we're all trying to do is looking at a broken business process or looking for the reasons why I need the technology rather than saying, this stuff is cool, go and buy some, and then we'll find out what we're going to do with it later. So Zoom had quite a unique perspective there. I thought that was a really, really well done.
You know, really quick, it's just amazing you said it. I just yesterday watched that famous Steve Jobs. There's a video of Steve Jobs on YouTube, and when he still had his hair, and he had just come back to Apple trying to rebuild it after being kicked out, and he was gonna, and and he was addressing I guess a bunch of employees or people in the community at one of his live talks, and someone stood up and really let him have it because he was canceling a project that was great technology, could do things nothing else can do. And he gave this response, and it's one of those legendary Steve Jobs things where he says, the problem with being me and running a company is this guy's right. This technology is amazing. Maybe it can do things no one else can do, but I can't start with the technology and then take it to the marketeers and say, convince people to sell that. What I got to do is start with my customers and say, what's their problem? And then come up with a way to solve it, whatever the technology is. That's the way, and he ended by saying, that's the way you sell $8 billion of product a year, which of course what it's all about at the end. But that's exactly what you're talking about. We can't just, right? We can't just say, hey, this is cool, use it. We got it. What Zoom was talking about, saying these are the actual problems in the workplace. Here's how we're going to solve it for you.
But our industry does, though, David, doesn't it? It does say this is cool. So you get Maybelline filters, or you get background blur, and you get, well, background blur is fantastic. But then last year it was all about
telepresence.
Sorry. Well, there's telepresence and, of course, metaverse, which we spoke about last year. We haven't seen anyone talk about metaverse this year, with the exception of Cisco, that had a very cool pair of the Apple Vision sort of mixed reality goggles. I didn't get to play with it, but there's stuff that we do for technology's sake, and there's really addressing business issues and business problems. So it was good to see Zoom starting with that. Really, the big news, of course, from Zoom was Zoom Workplace. Now that is a culmination of all of the suite of products that they have. So I think they recognize that they were, rightly so, really well known for meetings.
Yeah,
it's so much more than that.
It's a verb.
There isn't. Yeah, we all Zoomed during COVID, didn't we? But now they're presenting their Workplace as an AI-powered platform to streamline communications, improve productivity, increase employee engagement, optimize in-person time, the customer engagement part with the Zoom Contact Center. They really sort of went to town with this multicast offering, which is on a single platform using data, which AI can leverage and provide some amazing insights. In fact, I do wonder whether or not Zoom, they may have over-rotated on AI, because it was AI on Zoom Phone, looking at tasks from voicemail. So if anyone leaves you a voicemail, you can get a voicemail transcription. It can look for tasks and start attributing tasks to people there. There was their AI companion where you can ask, like a virtual AI assistant. I just really felt that there was an awful lot there. And I'm coining the term feature salad. It was very much a feature salad where Zoom were talking about 40 plus new features. So it's a lot to take in. So I felt they started well with business reasons to use their platform. And then it was fast and furious, feature. And I struggled to take notes on that at that point.
It's funny. There's one of their strengths is one of their weaknesses. Their dev team pops out tons and tons of features. Now I'm hoping, one of the big announcements was the Ask AI Companion, and if I'm understanding it, it might be what I'm kind of looking for, or step towards what I'm looking for. Like I was complaining before that there's 30 different co-pilots. There's a co-pilot in my Excel, and there's a co-pilot in this, and it's sort of the same way with Zoom. There's the Zoom companion in the meeting and the one that's in the chat, and that's not the way I imagined it when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I imagined I'm going to have my one virtual Jeeves, although you can't say Jeeves because Ask Jeeves ruined that for us. But my one virtual friend who, no matter where I am, whether I'm on my phone or on my computer or in the kitchen or in an Excel document, it's that person. It feels like a person, right? It's the computer in Star Trek. And I just ask it, what are my tasks today? What was the summary from that meeting? Is my tone okay in this email? And it's not, and it remembers from one to the other. It's with me all day. And I'm hoping that this, because this is Ask AI Companion, is outside of the meeting, it's outside of the chat. I'm hoping that's a step in that direction.
You know, we'll have done a full circle when that Teams button on those phones when it becomes a co-pilot button, and you can use it to take personal notes to yourself, or here's a memo I need to get. I need to speak to David to speak about this topic on the next podcast that we do, or the webcast we do. Then we will have done a full circle with desk phones actually having some value as some sort of co-pilot interface there. So yeah, I think that was really Zoom wrapped up, with the exception of a partnership, which is important, with Avaya.
Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah, so Avaya was saying they've got a lot of UC real estate out there with Aura. What they were looking at doing was teaming up with Zoom to provide the contact center side of things. Now that's a great partnership. One thing that I should have explored this a bit more with some Avaya senior staff was, so when you have that partnership, what's to stop Zoom from sort of then saying, well, we also do contact center as well. So it's all well and good having this partnership. It's got to be it's got to be tied down commercially, or, there's some sensitivity around what you can do across that real estate. But, by and large, it was Avaya giving up the UC space, and they've got lots and lots of PBXs out there, teaming up with Zoom to provide the UC solution, and then still having the contact center investments with Avaya.
Yeah,
so I think that was.
It's, I hate bashing on Avaya. They've been through so much over the years, and this might be the harshest way of looking at it, but if you have a choice of losing your customers now because they need video and they're going to Zoom, or losing them in 5 years because you give them Zoom now and keep them, and then they switch to Zoom in 5 years, I'd rather lose them in 5 years than now, and something might happen. The magic that the Avaya's been waiting for might happen during that 5 years. But otherwise, they're going to bleed right now. And for Zoom, come on. For Zoom, oh yeah, sure, we'll take millions of extra customers, send them our way. Oh, why wouldn't they? Unless I'm missing something.
No, well, the other thing is as well is there's a number of partners that get a lot of maintenance contracts. There's a lot, it used to be something like 10% of the sale price for PBX was used as recurring revenue every year for doing what? Dusting out the PBX, taking a software dump of the configuration. If you have batteries, perhaps even topping up the batteries. But, it wasn't
it's such a big world out there. It's such a big Avaya world out there still. It's crazy.
It is, but you're cannibalizing a lot of your partner's revenue opportunity there in terms of maintenance contracts. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how it works out. I need to get a lot more information on the details and trying to find out a little bit more there on the contract, the terms of the contract.
Let's move on to RingCentral.
Yes,
they hosted us for a wonderful cocktail party, and they're great people, and they had a great keynote. So let me let you start.
They did well. They won the Best of Overall Enterprise Connect 2024 awards with RingSense, their AI capability. They've got over 400,000 customers worldwide. They again spoke about not 5 nines reliability, but 6 nines reliability.
It's the first time I've seen that. Is that the first time we've seen that?
I think it might well be, but we need to have a look at the Telcordia or Bell Labs spec for that, because I don't know, it's like, if you're going to buy a system out there, it's going to be reliable. But again, having to reinforce the fact that it's reliable, which, there wasn't any doubt in people's heads last year. Now with Microsoft and Ring sort of bringing in this 5 nines reliability or 6 nines reliability, I think if I was on the buyer side in that keynote, I'd be thinking, I better check on that reliability. So, by bringing people's attention to it, all of a sudden it raises its head and people start getting a bit concerned about it, I think. So it was RingSense AI for the employee experience, the customer experience, using it in marketing and sales. The whole idea is making every conversation smarter and making every conversation matter. So nice tagline there. I think that was really good. And it sums up the reason why you need AI in the first place. And then I think there was
they have a rebrand of MVP to EX. Is that right?
That's right. It was Ring EX and Ring CX. So MVP is now Ring EX plus Ring CX. There's a lot of X's in there. It's almost like that sums up my relationships. I think a lot of X's. Being married 3 times, and then of course, again, this personal AI assistant. That was another sort of way in which you can use the old Star Trek analogy and, hey, computer, do this. So yeah, I think well deserved best of overall EC24 award for RingSense AI. A lot going in there. Yeah, a lot of value being added to the both the employee experience and the customer experience.
Yes. Any other keynotes we should mention? I think there was some brief conversations with like Google and AWS, but not like full.
I missed out on some of those, and obviously HP Poly were on stage as well. But I think that was probably it from the keynote. That's the ones that I saw.
Should we talk?
In all,
talk about the sessions. I don't have notes from specific sessions, but I just, I do need to say that of all the events I go to, I do find the sessions here, maybe because it's all my friends up there, but I do find these sessions to be particularly good, particularly valuable. It's not just, oh, my feet hurt, I'm going to find a session to sit down. They're on my calendar before I attend the event.
They are, and the amount, the worthwhile discussions you have outside of the sessions as well. When a session, of course, plenty of people want to come and talk to you after the event. It's a great, Enterprise Connect is fantastic for networking. That's something that digital will never replace, is that sense of community, that getting those discussions, afterwards while you're having coffee, maybe if you're having a drink. It's really got that sense of community, and that you get some great insights while you're just walking around the shows. So a lot of buzz from the show. What was your take on the actual floor space there, David? It did seem not as packed as it has been. What did you think of the show floor?
Yeah, it definitely, it seemed like it didn't go all the way back to the wall at the end. It wasn't like I couldn't say who was obviously missing. Anyone who I could think should be there was there. And it was definitely, it was well attended. The booths, the Poly booth always had a crowd in it. The Poly HP booth always had a crowd in it. But you could get through the booths. You could walk through. People were saying it was, we don't have the numbers yet. So I don't want to say, but people are saying in the past they think there have been bigger Enterprise Connects.
There may have been. I guess the useful thing is, if you had a burning issue to discuss or talk through a problem, you got plenty of time with experts there to make sure that your question was really well answered. And I got some great booth tours, some great demos. One thing that I wanted to do was just go out to the floor. We've spoken about it before, David, is webinars and town halls and this sort of pro video sort of development environment that more and more enterprises are looking at. So I went looking for specific devices, not headsets or earphones, although they're always fun to get hold of. Lots of video bars out there, but the one thing that really sprang to mind was I went to Shure's stand, and I really liked, they have something, I think it's called the MXW, the Next 2. And it's got a lav mic, a Bluetooth lav mic, and a roving mic that's wireless. And I thought, this is the sort of stuff that I get excited about, because I still think that a lot of UC vendors miss out on this whole idea of doing professional webinars and doing really good town hall events, really having that high quality video production environment sort of setup, rather than, it's just a meeting for thousands of people. If it's going, if you're going to try and hold the attention of 1,000 people, do it well, and make sure you've got the right setups. Make sure you've got green screens, and you've got someone with David's skills behind the scenes to make all of this fly. Make sure you've got the right devices as well. But no one seems to be capitalizing on webinars, which was really interesting. That was another thing that wasn't really spoken about much. Any thoughts, David?
Yeah, it's funny you should mention that, because I forgot I was going to do some self-promotion during this live stream. I forgot to set up for it. A few days before I headed out for Enterprise Connect, I gave a webinar for Avixa. the group behind Infocom. I've been moderating their virtual production, which is exactly what you're talking about. The virtual production series for the last year. I've produced moderated 8 panels last year, and they were some of the best attended, highly rated. All of a sudden, virtual production, which I'm so thrilled about, is becoming a big part of our world. And the comments that I got from the one that I presented, and it wasn't a panel, it was just me last week. I feel like I have to put them up on my website or something. I have to share them. It was, give myself a little pat on the back, but I think a lot of it is the topic. This is something fun, exciting, little tricks like what are we talking about now? We're talking about what's on the show floor. Just the fact that you're sitting next to me now while you're in London and I'm in Florida, this is part of our world, and it's we're the people who should be doing it and should be talking about it, and it should be a track at our events and in our organizations. So I'm very glad to hear you say that, because otherwise I would have had to.
And there's not a lot of, quite frankly, there weren't a great deal of AV guys, AV pros there. I know Chris Nito from the AV side of the business. He was there. I didn't get to speak to him, which is a shame.
Evan Crystal, he's up on the rotation behind me somewhere.
But it just felt like that's an opportunity that people aren't capitalizing on, which is strange, because GoTo acquired Hopin, and you've got Zoom, obviously, with the webinars. You've got Cisco with the acquisition of Social. Actually, Microsoft Teams has got some interesting capabilities in webinars. I can't understand why people aren't jumping all over that. It seems strange.
There's something else. If I had time, if we didn't do this the day after the event, I would have set up. There's an old internet meme from the movie Mean Girls. It's a movie Tina Fey produced it or something. And it's a bunch of high school girls. And this one high school girl keeps using the word fetch, as in something's cool. Oh, that's so fetch. Oh, I love that. That's so fetch. And she's the only one who's saying it. And finally, one of the mean girls says, "Stop trying to make fetch a thing. It's never going to be a thing." And there's a million memes of her face when she's saying that, "Stop trying to make blank a thing." And I feel like the world is saying to me, David, stop trying to make hybrid events a thing. They're not a thing. And you know what? I'm not ready to give up. I love hybrid events. Zoomtopia and WebEx1 were proper, true, interactive, with the remote people, hybrid events, and everyone loved them, and they were wonderful. And the WebEx used their platform, and Zoom used their platform. And all the events I've attended, those are the only 2 good hybrid events I've attended. So I want Enterprise Connect. I want Infocom. And I'm being obnoxious about it. When I talk to the events people at Zoom, I'm like, you should tell Infocom they could use your thing for free. And you should tell them before I tell WebEx to do the same thing. And then I tell my contacts at WebEx, you should have
town halls. Town halls as well. You should never, as a presenter, have to say to someone, "Next slide, please." If I ever hear that again, I heard it so many times during COVID, "Next slide, please," because people didn't know how to advance their slides. We need people to get really on board with high quality town halls. If you're asking 1,000 people to invest an hour of their time, make it really great content, make it interactive, do the sorts of things that David is doing as part of this setup. Make sure you've got, Shure wireless mics or lav mics. Don't rely on someone to advance the slides. Have a green room to set it up. Use a Q&A panel instead of chat, because you can't see 10,000 people all typing at once to ask questions. This stuff needs managing. It needs to be a decent produced studio approach to corporate communications. Don't just wing it on with a meetings. Don't expect 1,000 people to turn up and actually pay attention if you're not doing something valuable. You've got all the tools there. Why not use them?
Yep. And even if you can't, hire an entire team, there's little things you could do. Just simply, in the last webinar I did, I popped the chat up on screen. And I said, if you're excited about this topic, type 1 and hit enter. And all of a sudden the chat, the ones started flying up, 11111, and everyone's excited. And all of a sudden we're doing something together. And it's not just me talking, it's us talking together. That's a very, very simple trick, but I don't see a lot of people doing that. I still see the old webinars. Yeah. And I still see events with no hybrid components. There were some sessions that I missed, and I don't know if they were recorded. I don't know if they're online. I hope so.
Maybe not yet. Maybe you're going to have to give away your registration details and email address. You've got to have some, you've got to give up something to get something. You've got
Oh,
to give
that's
to get.
okay. As long as everything's, somehow being recorded on video, as long as I don't have to physically attend if I don't really want to. That's the thing. I still feel like there's some events that I have to attend. Enterprise Connect I want to attend, but there's some events I have to attend because they're not hybrid. Anything else about the show floor? I think, you see the Aver gear behind us. There's always new good stuff. I think a lot of people did their big announcements at ISE.
A lot of video bars, David.
Oh,
a lot of video bars.
Everyone
they're all
has
over
to have
the
a video
place.
bar. And they're good.
Yeah,
they're all good.
They are. And no
Some
big
stand out.
No big telepresence. I think, as we start going through this sort of economic slowdown and the remodeling of meeting rooms, I think video bars will win out big time. I don't really see great big wall type display boards being put in a lot of rooms. I think there's also going to be a rise of the two things that I think were interesting were the number of attendees that I spoke to that said, we want to maximize on bring your own meetings. We attend multiple meetings on different platforms, Zoom, WebEx, RingCentral, Cisco, Teams, etc. We don't want to force people onto one platform. We just want to be able to plug in a laptop, USB connector, and use the in-meeting assets, regardless of what platform you're going on. So lots of discussions on bring your own meeting. The other one, of course.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Oh, just bring your own meeting. Did you see that Barco's ClickShare
yes,
now supports wireless video conferencing? Because wireless video conferencing, that's not even possible. But yeah, it is. So and just to the idea is you have your big video bar behind you, and but someone walks in with Zoom or Teams or whatever on their laptop. I have my account on here. I can't figure out the room system. You want to use their account on their laptop, but you don't want to use the little laptop camera that's terrible, little microphone. You want to use the big stuff, and that required dongles and cords and cables. But the ClickShare now that has that just a little dongle, little button, and you're controlling it from your laptop, but you're using the good gear. It's perfect.
Yeah, so a lot of discussions on that. And then speaking to some European colleagues, because obviously when you walk in the stage floor and you speak in a weird accent, it attracts a bit of attention and people flock because it's sort of, who's that guy speaking weird stuff over there? A lot of Europeans turning around and saying the grade A commercial real estate market has gone through the roof. If you're going into the office, make sure it's a beautiful office that people want to go to.
Yeah.
And then they're sort of saying that they need those rooms to be multi-purpose. So they don't want a dedicated room to a dedicated platform with dedicated gear in. So I have a feeling, particularly in Europe, not sure if we'll see it in the US as well, but I think there's going to be a big rise towards bring your own meeting and multi-purpose rooms. And that could be for meetings, but it could be for town halls. It could be studio video quality productions for video clips and recordings. It could be for town halls, but this concept of a multi-purpose room rather than it just being used for meetings.
A quick thought back on the video bars. I like them. I mean, they're good. They're exactly what we need. We won. I feel like some people are like, oh, there's so many video bars, and I'm not seeing a lot of advancement. No, because they're right. And we talked about how we don't want to see features just for don't throw features in the video bars if they're already perfect. The one new thing we saw from video bars was D10. Their video bar, you can turn it vertically, so you could put it in between two monitors, and it'll know that the camera's vertical, so you won't be sideways on the screen. That's not like, oh my God, we've made it to the moon. It's not like that big of a leap, but okay, it's a cool thing, and I'm sure that it'll be available for others. But the fact that that's all the fact that that's the biggest advancement is a good thing. It shows that we're there. We're okay with that. Don't overcomplicate them. Another thing I wanted to talk about is people were saying that if this is turned into a vendor press analyst event, it's still worth going to, a partner event, a vendor event. The conversations at the booth were amazing. But people are hopeful that it's not like there were no end users there. We always wanted more end users. I think people were saying there were enough end users there to make it worth their while. But we're hoping for things to return. And I think part of it might just be that it's been at the same location for, I think, 9 years out of a 10-year contract. And so maybe kind of a new location, although I love Orlando. It's perfect. This building was built for this event. It's so perfect. It's so perfect. So I hate to see it move, but that might kind of reinvigorate it from an end user point of view.
Yeah, I mean, mind you, it kept us on the industry is changing. So was the Gaylord Palms. Every day it seemed like the up escalator became the down escalator, and then the down escalator became the up escalator. I felt as confused about the escalators and how to get up to the floors as I did about AI. I think it was just one of those states of what's going on. Yeah.
That's funny. I forgot about that, but yeah. Oh, and one other thing. And maybe we can. If you have anything else, or can we wrap up on this?
No, I think that's good. Yeah, good to go.
Big news. The Microsoft espresso booths were not there this year. They're one of my favorite part. They always hire very friendly, nice people to barista there, and it's always awesome cappuccinos, and they're perfectly located. There's a line, and it's worth waiting on the line, and they put the little Microsoft logo on the foam, and this year it wasn't there, and I'm just gonna I'm thinking that maybe Microsoft is having financial problems. I'm gonna buy an extra Windows license to help you all out, because if you can't afford the coffee, I don't know, maybe you're having trouble this year with sales. So everyone buy some Microsoft gear. Let's help them out. They're a good company.
Well, it wasn't as if they didn't have any problems with the branding. I think everyone knows what Microsoft Teams is, and it was standing room only in the keynote. So it showed you how busy the trade, how busy the event was when there's standing room only in keynotes. So
considering they weren't even in our industry, 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And now, and one other thing, when during the Microsoft keynote, when they had a chance to give a little friendly elbow to a competition, they chose Zoom. When Ilya was doing his demo, and he's saying, "Oh, look, we have some people from Zoom coming over," and then the local, "Oh, we'll cut off that call then." And it was friendly, it was a joke, but if we're talking about Microsoft's presence and who does Microsoft, who's the big battle with, it's it's not just a Zoom and Microsoft industry, but that's the war that is being fought. That's where the big guns are being aimed.
Yeah, you look at the portfolio, it's going to be an interesting few years ahead, because if Zoom can marginalize Microsoft's E1, E3 plan for the enterprise and say, well, if anyone can say this, Ring, anyone wants to do this, just buy the E1 plan and invest the delta with me, because I can provide you with this, and this. And by the way, AI is free, and you're not going to be paying an extra $30 per user per month. These are the sorts of sales discussions that I think we'll get into. It's going to be unpicking that Microsoft license to see where the value is. It's going to be an interesting few years, that's for sure.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Keep us busy, David.
It's going to be very interesting, and I think very good for the customer. All right, so that wraps it up. Tim, I have to thank you for almost completely carrying this. You remembered so much stuff that I forgot. I absolutely
need a lay down. I'm still hyped up from it, David. I need a lie down. I think I'm going to crash tonight with jet lag and everything. But
you might have some overtired energy, but I really do appreciate that you were awesome in this session. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
And I'll see you in 2 weeks. All right, take care, everyone.